Hello, folks. Hello, folks. I might not wait for too long for people to get here before I start talking because I don't intend staying here for long. But then I know for those who may find this interesting will come back here to watch. For a long time, I'm asking people to share my video. And for a long time, I'm getting out of the context of my personal business. After being bullied on the social media 2 years ago, I decided to focus on my personal business, not to talk about any other person's thing. But then it comes sometimes when we realize that things are happening because some of us are not taking our responsibilities, not because we were taken out of the idea of being leaders by people who might have been then what I call coup d'etat or overtaken, that we will stop from trying to build our responsibilities as leaders of a particular group of activity in our own community. It is with great regret that we lost one of the most talented artists. I am one, and I know exactly what happened. And I've seen so many versions and individual versions of people trying to build up fame because of the death of a young man. I've seen so many different kind of stories. Yes, of course, in the African culture, it is a taboo to want to talk about the dead badly. But then at a certain point, we need to focus on reality so we prevent all the bad things from happening to us. That is why I'm here today. I'm also here today because Fhish, if he were alive, he would permit me talk, even if I'm talking wrong about him. This is my snack. I mean, my snack is one of the few people I celebrate. Let me turn this camera. That's him there. At the entrance of my snack, there are other artists, but at the entrance, that's his position. So I am not here to usurp any situation. I'm here to build up the facts. Folks, as you see us like these entertainers, we suffer a lot, and you do not understand, especially for those who have not prepared their mind to face you people. Especially those who have not prepared their minds to realize that we've got 2 lives to live while we live on earth. Our private lives, which are supposed to be the period that we rest and forget about the things in the world, especially now the world doesn't favor even the good things we do. And our public lives that all of you will always want to control. But then the most important thing about our lives as celebrities is how much you respect your own self, how much you've got to love your own self, and how much you've got to plan about your own self. If today we are talking about Fhish dead, and I hear lots of people talking about spirituality, they had dreams, let me remind you that every single December, artists have had accidents. This situation is because he died. All, if not most of our artists, the Makusa artists of those days, the new generation artists, they've had accidents. Talk about the fact of this young guy who died, who had an accident, and the lady died. The other young musician who has a case pending in court. What's his name? Yes, it was still caused by the same thing that killed Fhish. I'm talking about the young francophone, I don't like using those terms, artist who had an accident here. It was still caused by tenor. It was still caused by the same thing that killed Fhish. We nearly passed through that thing because of the grace of God. But very few artists, if you are not with the grace, will get through that stage. That is pumping talent to a brain that is not yet qualified to manage fame and talent. That is the disease. That is what killed him. That is what causes some of those accidents. Excitement and pumping talent to a brain that is not ready to manage it. So forget all those dreams that people say, because December has been a period where we find out the highest level of excitement within us, The highest level of wrong programming within us, and the highest level of misleading situations within us. Let me remind you, there's an adage that when an artist gets more than 30 years, or a popular person gets more than 30 years, it's bonus time. If you cross 30, you get to 50. That's the second time. That means 50 is the second age for us to die. If you cross 50, then you have broken records and you get to 80. Start naming them for popular folks. Start from Jesus Christ. All of us know what killed him. Go to Bob Marley. All of us know what killed him. Now, if you have to cross and get to Michael Jackson, it is the same thing that killed him. Fame. And nobody will refuse that it's because of fire on his head for fame. When he wanted to do the Pepsi advert, that he lived with that for a long time, died. Whitney Houston, the same thing that killed Fhish killed Whitney Houston. So let's drop all those nonsense in Africa. They will start talking about dreams, witchcraft. Drugs killed Whitney Houston. So now let's get to the details of this young man who died. This young man, at his peak, because now we can evaluate his peak because he's gone, had gotten to a point where he knew he was the best. He even made a statement recently. He was waiting for other people to join him. It would have been our place to get in. I called him twice, though, because we don't have any place in the social media anymore. Because once we come to the social media, most of what we receive is bullying caused by the people who are destroying it. Because I used to be a leader here. I used to be running comedy here in the name of Ni Parliamentarian and Inquiry. They were social satires to prepare stars. They were social satires to prepare politics. But the same people who came and overtook us and decided to bring lies about us that have never come up to be proof, took over the social media, and they are not using it. Now they are using the wrong way. But as an individual, I called Fhish. Once he left Big Brother house and I saw some excitement. Twice that he didn't pick up his call. And my discussion with him would have been, you see what happened to Big Brother and Biggie? Remember that despite the fact that the world loves you so much, you have to sit down and evaluate yourself if you wronged some people there. Because we have a gullible mentality of a crowd that follows people without following. And if he came, maybe he would have sat to evaluate what happened there, and you maybe have adjusted. Now you empower somebody with that kind of popularity. Then you empower somebody with a vehicle. You do not manage the person's driving capability. Then the man hits the road. Has a first accident, comes to the social media and tells the world he nearly hit the cow. Then when he passed the cow, he drove fast. Then he nearly hit some boys as if it was a video game. And you want to tell me it's a spiritual thing? No. No. He nearly hit. Means he's not used to driving. I'll give you some few steps on my personal life. I drove within town for 10 years before I ever decided to take a risk with other two professional drivers in a car to do my first highway driving. Yes, I drove for more than 10 years within. What we see driving in town here is not what you see on the highway. Yes. Now, every December, every artist who is on spot at that particular moment is supercharged. When I say supercharged, I mean supercharged. You may have 2 concerts per day in 2 different towns. You may have 3 concerts in nearby towns, but it is your duty to choose where and what to do at that particular moment. You cannot take an 11 o'clock, a 9 p.m. concert in Yaoundé and take a 12 midnight concert in Douala. These are the errors we do, and artists has got to rest. You cannot. The December period is the period where we don't even take a drink. Insofar as you have signed some of those things, cancel some. But I'll tell you the trick we used to play. There was a time in this country that every single day I was an MC for either a wedding or a show in December. But I had a plan that I want to tell other celebrities. that we, I mean, especially the poor celebrities like myself, because if you look like those who are doing well at this age, somebody like Jovi, he has a whole team. They were here at the restaurant downstairs yesterday. The driver, the team, everybody. So now, of course, you know the driver was sleeping while they were on the show, so that in the morning the driver is well and clear to go. But in case we had to work in a team as a group, I have a younger brother of mine, Derek. I have another younger brother of mine, Daniel Fusi. I usually would do a program that all of them are good drivers. I'm the worst driver amongst the three. And Derek had his own business. He will handle the camera and I will handle the MC things and make sure that these shows will go together. For highway, Danny will drive. By the time we get to Boya, if there's a show there, we'll do the show. We'll keep Danny at Kalu's hotel to be sleeping. We go to Kumba and do the next show. Kumba is not far away. We come in the morning, Danny is rested. Danny takes the car to Bamenda. We get to Bamenda, Danny is resting. He's not part of the show. In Bamenda, Danny could drive around. We have 2 days to break there. If there is an emergency in Yaoundé and it's one show, it should be a flight. A flight is 55,000. And we only sit and want to do criticisms when time comes. We've never heard that a flight has killed people like cars kill people. We only want to condemn the flights, but that's what, at a certain point, as an artist, you've got to face it. By the time you're there, you're through, the next flight will pick you. Stop. I know there will be lots of stories here about criticisms. People don't want to face the facts. They don't want to face, oh, the planes are not good. When did a plane fall here locally? So, the simple things that, the thing that I want to say here is, the young man was in fame and there was no proper management of that fame. Fame comes with a lot of stubbornness. Fame comes with a lot of wasabi. Fame comes, you think sometimes you're bigger than Jesus. You think that God loves you more than your fans. No, it's just your period. It's just the fame period. You could be the best, but that fame period, if you do not manage it well, you become the worst. You could be the best, but if that fame period, you cannot handle it, you become the worst. Once the fame comes, there are two things that happen when you have got to be famous. Once that talent boils in you and is about to explode, half of you is taken by Satan, half of you is taken by God. I want to say half of you is taken by good things and half of you is taken by bad things. It is how much you manage the good and bad things that pushes you ahead. And the good and bad things I'm talking about here is not the things of the Bible. Are the earthly things about you taking care of yourself. How much proper rest do you have in between your shows? I'm telling you, a friend of mine, a comedian, collapsed on stage 2 years ago in Nigeria and died because he had to walk throughout December from show to show. So it's not just only accidents that will happen. It's not just accidents that will happen. You could even crash. Some have to now go into drugs, take a lot of drugs to maintain the energy during that period. You are not doing it for somebody. You are destroying your own self. So if you tolerate all the bookings, wrong bookings because of wrong management, and you want to get to all the shows, remember you have to have a very strong team to back it up for you. Because if you do not keep a strong team, you will crush. Now, this bad one is happening because this is a physical crush. A physical crush that took place on the street and people saw a dead body. But do you know how many of us artists have psychological crush after December? Do you know how many of us become depressed after this period? Do you know how many of us become terrible because we do not manage this? Do you know how many of us get out of the game because of this? So let nobody get up someday and start talking the story of spirituality. I had a dream. Everybody was supposed to have a dream, a bad dream about Fhish, because he got online and announced an accident. And if you're a lover of his music, each time the way he narrated that story, dreams come from the subconscious of a human being's mind. And so in your subconscious, you had to see him in that accident. I see prophets coming to say they had seen. No. It's supposed to be natural that a very famous person at that point who made that kind of a statement, at their life, I'll meet you down, made that kind of a statement should have washed out. I'll explain some few things to you. There's an African adage, which is true, that when the gods want to kill somebody, they make him mad. There are always signs for everything to come. And these signs are natural phenomena of the things we do. I had an accident about a month ago, a small one. I lost brakes in one of my cars, and I'm not using that car for various reasons. But you know what? I decided to stay home for 48 hours. That's what we do. You need to rest. You don't need to blame any person. And I will tell you why I had that accident. I came out and I knew that that car's brake was not the best. But some other person had blocked the car I wanted to use. I would have stopped coming out, but there's a Nigerian who came to Cameroon, and he was in my restaurant, an old friend of mine, and insisted to see me. I would have stopped not from coming. I was already tired. So if I died that day, would it have been brought here that it's a spiritual death? No. I was careless. I took a car that I was not sure of the brakes. One. Number two, I was tired. I would have pushed an appointment. It is not because you are famous that you have to get to all appointments, even when you are not psychologically ready or when you are not physically ready. Because if somebody is in his video, like Fhish said, he saw a nearly jammed that cow. Put yourself in that nearly jammed that cow. It's like I not even see me the cow, I nearly jammed the cow. It's like I not see the truck, I jammed the truck. You don't do things like that. We don't. We will miss this great guy a lot because I mean, most of the time you go realize how somebody is great when he's not there because you want to evaluate every single point there. I feel so terrible. I feel so terrible that I had totally stopped out from coming to the social media to give advice in my comedies because of the very bully, the very people who are talking spiritual things are the people who bullied us out of social media with your help. Because they made you look at us as zombies because from the beginning we were those who were popular on this medium. They wanted to be popular and they used the negative way, passing through notorious methods by sabotaging us so that they will have your favors. But now they are not doing the duties that we were doing as leaders. For more than 2 years, I don't write anything that does not concern me. For more than 2 years, I don't talk about anything that does not concern my food or myself. I decided not to get into any person's business but at this particular point, if we keep allowing this thing because I thought the people who did the coup d'etat and took off social media will handle it. And if they are not handling it, what do we expect? To come back and still face you people? Unfortunately, again, I went and realized the same people who took us out of the social media, you supported them. I see you opposing them. I saw one nearly crying on spiritual issues. Let me tell you, every entertainer is as important as you, who's a famous person. It's just because we're in the limelight. There's a certain engineer somewhere around maybe who's the one handling the fiber optics for MTN. I'm not saying that is true. He's a very important person in God's eyes. Why should the dream only come on fame? He's a very important person in God's eyes. There's a certain floor fixer somewhere. It's a very important person in God's eyes. There's a certain car repairer. It's a very important person in God's eyes. But let me warn you about how God good is. God is extremely good. That's why each time God has to show you a dream, you have a possibility to cancel the bad things of that dream because you have seen it. So it is extremely negative. You're not strong enough maybe to come on social media and say you had the power to see, but you didn't have the power to prevent. We need to face facts. And if we have to face facts, we need to listen to what I've told you. Most of our destruction is self-destruction. I will die someday, and I will never want my death to be blamed. Everybody has to die. And truly, the spiritual people who always want to condemn young and say, oh, they shouldn't have died because they had a dream and it was a spiritual thing, should be happy each time somebody dies, because when you die, you should go to heaven. Yes, good people die and go to heaven, and heaven is paradise. So why are they so scared of the dying thing? I know that the argument of premature death, which is a very strong argument, but how do you prevent premature death? It's between us, and we've got to face the facts. Give Jesus a chance to rest at least. Every errors we do on earth, Jesus here, Jesus there. Give Jesus a chance to rest. If we are truly the body of Christ, then Jesus lives in us. And if he lives in us, then there should be that spiritual aspect within us to take care of our own self first. I'm not a madman to not have taken mbanga or drugs at 46. I'm not a madman not to have taken it. I've not taken it because I realized that I already have adrenaline. I don't need it. But then if you think that it is drugs that will make you see clearer while you drive, you're running for the dooms. I will tell you some few facts about what as a celebrity I have not done before. I've never driven a car after 8 o'clock to leave another town. After 7 o'clock in the night to leave another town. Why should I drive it in the night? For another show? No. If it must be, which I've not accepted it, it will be a professional driver that will drive me. I'm not saying that I will not have an accident someday. I'm not saying that I can't die in an accident. I'm telling you that I am trying by every means to take precautions in every next move I take. If I'm driving through Kumbatu Douala and it is 7:30, get a hotel and sleep. Get up in the morning. If you're not experienced, start going slowly. If I have taken one bottle of export in my life, I have never driven on a highway with one bottle of export, whereas I drink a lot. Whereas I think I am a drinker. But I know the influence of one bottle of export beside a steering wheel on a highway. Let me give you the definition of an accident. The definition of an accident is a split of less than a second that you're unconscious. A split of less than a second that something happens that you didn't want to happen. It could happen, and then that's why we put it God's will. When there is no car coming and you fix your tire back, it could happen when there's a truck in front of you and you will die. So how do you prevent the split of that second to always be conscious? It's by being conscious. And how do you be conscious? It's by not being tired. How do you be conscious? It's by moving on a speed that you will stand on consciousness. How do you be conscious? It's by not doing too many programs. How do you be conscious? It's by letting the person who is on the steering to be the most conscious person at that moment. So, I'm glad you didn't give me the opportunity to talk here, but I have reflected quite much, and I don't know. I will still want to irritate to let you know that lots of artists have had accidents in December. The difference between them and Fhish is that they didn't die. The young guy had an accident here, and a girl died inside. The young girl died inside. It was out of exaggeration of drinking. He left a snack and drove youthful exorbitance. Folks, let me inform you, majority of the young people who have died is either fame or money that killed them. Fame that you cannot manage or money that you cannot manage is the biggest poison, the biggest killer of today. Money that you cannot manage, getting ill money that you cannot manage, or getting super fame that you refuse to manage. Go through all. There's an excitement there, an excitement of a new car. Go through all. Go with the other artists who had an excitement of a new car. Go through all. An excitement of a bit of alcohol. Go through all. An excitement of some drugs. Go through all. Some excitement somewhere within the split of a second causes that glimmer of tiredness, and there is a small, and it happens. So we should stop this idea of bad luck and realize that even the big book says, so you will fix your bed and so we will go sleep on top. That's not even the big book language, that's an adage. The big book says something like, yeah, you've got to be, you have to be ready yourself within before you start looking for miracles. You have to be ready for your miracle. So that's it. I really thought we could do this. It's unfortunate I can't come back with my comedy skit because I created the inquiry and parliamentarian comedy skit in those days to moderate human beings through social satire and comedy, but tell them the facts on how to manage politics and this. But then it's this same medium that the same people that I see running this team went and fixed up a coup, hit on us, and I've had a lot of peace minding my business. I've had a lot of peace minding my business in a society where it's so shocking that the same people, the same lady who had started my sabotage is the one talking spiritual things, and the same people are trying to fight her, which means she has gotten to the point that you used us to become famous. Now they are fighting you like you fought us. But the question I'm asking you, madam, is why are you not doing the duties that we were doing? Why do you sit in your comfort and you're only dreaming? Why are you not doing the duties? Or why did you not think that all of us could do the duties together? To talk of my experience, I started show business from almost in my mother's womb because my father is one. So I've had the experience. I am lucky to be at all levels of show business, from music to comedy, music, journalism. Those are experiences I would have been giving the young people. But then, when you know that all of them are waiting to hit, today is not supposed to be my day. I'm just struggling to put on a reason why sometimes some things are getting really bad and we can't talk. I took 72 hours to sit down to take a decision to come to bring this discussion with you folks here. That's it. Look at 2 beautiful lives gone. We'll put it in facts. We shouldn't hide it. Due to carelessness, mismanagement of stardom at all levels. No matter how much we write, no matter what we go today and say the roads are bad, that same bad road has been bad for years. And as I'm telling you today, folks have driven from here to Boya without an accident. You do not want to die to prove a point about how bad your country or your road is, because the day the country will be fixed, you are not there. Look at that vehicle. It suggests the speed it was moving on. Look at that road. It suggests the speed it was moving on. Look at the experience. 1 month of driving. Like I said before, I took 10 years to try the highway. I can't say what I can say. So I think I will just recap some of the things I think we have to discuss. I've been putting up here. Let me start again now that we have here. I am a lover of fish. I am sitting right in front of my snack at the Nice Entertainment Arena to prove it to you. This is the door. Okay, this is the door. And if you get inside, the first picture is that of Fhish. So there's no hypocrisy. That's his picture there. I'm feeling bad. It's going to be there forever, insofar as I own this place. So I am not coming here out of hypocrisy, because he's been sitting there as #1 picture in this house since 2 years. So I have not come from the blue to come and gather fame. I've not come from the blue to come and tell Cameroonians how I want to be popular because somebody is dead. I've not come from the blue to come and tell Cameroonians how Jesus may love me the most, to give me dreams about people. No, I'm coming so that we've got to face facts and prevent some of this stuff. Let me recap. The recap is simple. Folks, December is a very busy period, and we artists have lots of booking. And once we have lots of booking, we should look for possibilities to manage our bookings. Don't take programs that are extensive from town to town within short hours or short time. If you have a program in Yaoundé on Wednesday, keep the program in Douala for Thursday in the night so that you can peacefully drive from midday to Yaoundé, Douala by 6 o'clock and you handle it. If you are there on Thursday and they say you have another program at midnight in Boya, refuse it, take a rest in a hotel, put them all in your bill and sleep. If you must go back to Yaoundé the next day and your driver is tired, take a flight, put it in your bill. Flights are not expensive. 55,000, you go and come. They put it in the bill. The bill is more than 300, 400, 500,000. Put it in your bill. Once you come back, on Monday when there's no activity, Tuesday there's no activity, once a snack calls you or some folks come to your house that you must drink, lock your door like I just did for the past 72 hours and sleep. Meditate and rest. Everybody wants to hang around you. Everybody wants to take a picture with you. Everybody wants to be with you on the lamplight. Everybody wants to stand with you when you're on the lamplight. The people in Yaoundé want to take a picture with you, but when you're moving to Douala, they're in their bed sleeping. When you get to Douala, the people who were there were sleeping while you were in Yaoundé. You go, you're taking pictures with them, and they are forcing you to take pictures with them. The people in Boya are waiting for you by the time you get to Boya at 10 o'clock. If you get there peacefully, the people in Douala will be sleeping. And by 10 o'clock, you're expected to now start snapping pictures and working with the people in Boya. Refuse these extensive programs. Because most of the times at lamplight is not even the money we are looking for. You just want to be there. You just want to prove the point that you made it. You just want to come there on time. You just want to make your fans satisfied. Una, fans, make una satisfied. When you're not there, they will finish you immediately. So that's it. For 48 hours, I have not come out of my house. I've not. Because three days ago, I was in fun. I've not gone out of my phone for any business. I've been doing business only on phone. Simply because I realized that energy is not there. Yeah. Simply because I realized that the energy is not there. Out of here, it's very simple. I've gone to the United States where every weekend I had a comedy show for more than 2 months, for every weekend from Thursday. But there it's easy. You're not the one driving. One of your hosts is driving you to the hotel. One of the hosts is driving you to the airport. One of the hosts is driving you to this place. And the next host is driving you to the other place. And you go there, you are resting. You don't go there, you start showing the proofs. Out of here, when you're invited, if you go to England, one of the hosts is driving you to the next juncture, the next place you're performing, and you're resting. When you get there, you're finding time to rest. But here in Cameroon, where lots of our folks here don't even have the cars, I would have gone without telling you this, which is very important. And let me come and bring it here today so that you should understand it. This may not concern, like I'm saying here, it doesn't concern only Fhish directly. Bros and sis in the family of fame, my people, never you try to live a life to impress them. Never you think that if you do not get there in the car, they will laugh at you. Never you think that if you take a public transport for your next show, some people will laugh at you because you're tired to drive. It only comes in your mind when you think you cannot afford to get the luxury that you have. But once you afford, I came here on the bike now. I would have died on the way because I was not the one driving. But I just realized that the car I wanted to use had a tire puncher. I looked the other way. I didn't have the key and I called the bike. So now, never you try to think that you have to build an impression for the next concert. You must get there with this car that is not good. You must have me appear for this concert to my tire the shake. I might just try reach. You don't do that. It comes back to us. You've got to prepare your life in two folds. The Alene Menget life and the knee parliament, the knee life. The Alene Menget life is supposed to be a humble journalist who is very original and traditional comic at home and does not allow a lot of people around him privately. My public life is the simple needs life where I want to greet everybody and smile with them. That is the one to get to people. Then it does not change the fact that you must be you, because you see, like, it is not all the birthday parties you have to go because it's you. You don't have to start pretending to want to rush through things that are not yours. You don't have to try to build impressions that these impressions will not last. Those are running through direct depressions. Impressions created within a short while will cause you depression, especially if these impressions that you create do not have a continuity. Then you're rushing through for a depression that you created through impression creating. So if you go down, like I was having a little conversation with most of these superstar artists, I doubt if Jovi can drive. Driving has never ever in this life been a certificate. It's a natural phenomenon of moving, like you walk on top of foot. You want to go to the next place and you want to go faster. And if I have to go to the next place faster, I need a car. But if I have to go to the next town faster, I need a professional to take me in the car. Because I don't need to impress any person that is there. Once you're super talented, there is no idea of impression. I'll tell you what happened in Oklahoma when we went there to launch a movie, Good Time to Divorce. The whole town was shaking and they knew I was there. And I had realized that just like in other Cameroonian societies, the folks who come late, and these big superstars or money people, or those who had made money, who want to come a little bit late so that for the show to start. Guess what? My host tried to keep me in the hotel for more than enough time. And I realized that there was a situation. I'm a good cook. He was doing soya. I had to do soya with him. Then I asked him later on that what was going on. They said they were packing the hall before people were coming late. I said, no, carry me there. They refused. Finally, some other friend came and took me. I was in the hall before everybody, and I packed that hall, and my guests started coming. It didn't reduce me. It instead increased me. For the people who had come to the show with the heavy suits and thought they would come and build a crazy impression on who had money, came and realized that their star they were waiting for the launch of the movie was already in front of the gate greeting people. How are you? Welcome. Take a seat here. That is what an absolute star does. When you get to that peak, you don't come at the end to show off something. No, you get to the people to walk with them. I practically did a lot in that hall that day. Why? I did it because I wanted to help my host. I did it because I was bored where they kept me alone. I did it because it is per my tradition to do it. And I did it because I wanted to meet my fans face to face. And I had the energy that moment. It's not like I traveled that day and I was tired. I was in that town for 3 days. So I didn't want to create an impression. There was once, oh Lord, when I started saying this thing in London, I was flown here to BMC for 50th anniversary. I forgot even my suit and I was crying, and the people around me who I had taken in my entourage were like, what do we do? One wanted to give me a suit. And I decided to put on the jacket I had traveled with, some African jacket, and I appeared to be the best that night. Because in my mind, I had taken totally out the mentality of impressing people. I could readjust within a very short while to start up and do up something else that will still be entertaining. So this December is here. Last December took off lives. I'm seeing a Barry here. Barry Luke was in Nigeria, and he will tell you how many people die, how many stars die during the December festive month in Nigeria. Collins, I want to see you. No going to play. Give me 5 minutes. I'll run up. We have risk to take. We have so many in our program. Most of us do not actually die in physical accidents like a car accident. We die later on or within that period of heart attack, fatigue, I know one comedian, one fat guy like that, he collapsed on stage and died in Nigeria 2.5 years ago because of too much programming, over programming. Now, if we do not die because of recklessness in our programming during this festive period, we end up dying because of depression after the period. We end up dying because of, when I say now, this one is not the exact die, it could be, we end up suffering from depression after the festive period. We end up suffering from some mess ups we did that we're not supposed to do after the festive period. If we're not organized during the festive period to handle all this, we end up at the end losing a lot instead of gaining. So folks, an accident could happen to everyone, including you who is not an artist, including you who is not a star. You could also have an accident too if you do not rest this period, because just like we stars who move around to entertain, there are some folks out there who move from wedding to wedding. You could also jump a wedding. You could also jump a ceremony if you're tired. And I just think it's not just for us. Let me read at least this one comment here. Simple understanding of circumstances has become spiritual. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So now, folks, I'm very grateful to be here, and I thank God for the courage I had to talk with you people after these years. And I feel bad. I really can't do the duty I'm to do because I'm scared of blackmail or scared of coup d'etats. Coup d'etats on Facebook. It's more peaceful staying alone, but we're not going to be staying alone and seeing things like this keep happening to us. So that's it. I thank you very much for watching. Pump the likes. I used to say pump. No. Do not pump likes. We're talking about a great person who is dead. I can't use this opportunity to gather fame. So now, take care of yourselves. If I said anything that's wrong here, forgive me. If you want to still fight, fight. If you think that you're going to pick up where I made an error with my opinion, and you think that a star does not have an opinion, yes, I actually do not have an opinion anymore. That's why you don't see me on Facebook with you. Truly, we don't have an opinion. They born with differently. According to you people, we don't have a life to live. We must follow the things that it depends on you. And so I've taken all note of that. And I've decided to sit in this corner where I think is extremely peaceful. Put those points within you, and all you huge entertainers out there, take time. They are resting while we are walking, and let's not go and be resting when they are not. When they will come here and be totally celebrating the fact that we don't die instead. And let me remind you, I could live here and die. Don't come and remove this particular part and say he could live here and die, because death be inevitable. Death be inevitable. And if spiritualism or those people, then if you should, most of these people, spiritual people, should be praying every day to die fast so that they should go and meet God. So once it happens, there's a way we manage it. Like I told you, it is not happening only here. It happens around the world. December or festive period is too difficult for artists. We also have our age gens. Before 33 is very dangerous for fame. Once you cross 33, you can now manage it a bit. It's natural. Most important famous people died before 33. Extremely talented people. Tupac Shakur, B.I.G., Jesus Christ, Bob Marley. Something kills them. And that thing is called fame. Something kills them. That thing is called people. People who do not understand them. The people killed Jesus. The people shot and fame killed Tupac. Carelessness, recklessness of a toe wound killed Bob Marley. If you cross and you get to 50, an accident that you had in fame will kill you. Michael Jackson with the wound in the head from Pepsi advert. Or you will go through the Whitney Houston way of dying in drugs. But don't you forget, there is another method of fame that exists, the Lionel Richie way. The Lionel Richie way. You stay in film and you don't do all those concerts and you're home. You just are on a point. You don't climb up too much on fame and you're standard. and you live for the rest of your life happily when you put on the difference between your family life and that of your public life. The Lionel Richie way, you could name a whole lot of Erykah Badu way, you could name a whole lot of those artists whom you know nothing about them but just the music they play. Somebody's talking the Arafat way. You could keep naming them. The Arafat ways, the early way, and a lot of people spiritualists. I don't know how Jesus found himself. Jesus, who died in Jerusalem, has now found himself in Africa more. Who is the one seeing spiritual eyes? Who saw the one that Arafat had to die? Jesus went into the dreams of a woman and saw that Fhish had to die. But I don't know how they didn't beg Jesus that night to beg Fhish not to die. That is instead of Jesus has become a killer. Is it Jesus who has become a killer? The very Jesus who saves lives? Is he the one who has become a killer? So that's it. If you want to name them, you will name a lot. Look at people like Mariah Carey. They started the hard way, but when they got into fame, they instead reduced it to the low way. You understand? At a certain age, when you pass through, you realize that you can manage all. You just sit. I will always name Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie has walked through all the major tiers of stardom. Lionel Richie was there before Michael Jackson got there. Lionel Richie is there till today, and you know who Lionel Richie is. Have you ever heard one thing about Lionel Richie? It's home. Oh, my guy, this actor, how do they call him? Mr. America. Is there anything? I pray to be that. It's just our society here that our folks are there. We have those untalented people who have looked for familiarity and become very notorious, not only people famous, and they are now influencing you every day with their talks, and the society is following them because they want to be famous and be paid by the social media for becoming famous. The reality stays there and nobody can take another person's place. Denzel Washington, I'm happy that everybody is saying. Eddie Murphy, Eddie Murphy himself is a bad boy. Three different wives. He's a bad boy because we are only talking about the accident part of things. December is the HIV part of things. December is the alcohol part of things. December is the mbanga and the drugs part of things. December is the highway part of things. December is the armed robbery time where even armed robbers are out there to steal from people. They are waiting. December is the fast lane part of things. If you just need to be careful. Nobody is saying that because if it's your day, they will meet you right in your house. If it's your day, the hall will tumble on you. If it's your day, there is no. But let it not be that you provoke your day. Let it not be that you provoke your day. Yeah, Tony Braxton. Tony Braxton was. When we talk about Tony Braxton, you realize at a certain point that she went out of fame after La Red production, when this guy who was writing for her, La Red and Babyface of La Fast production. We realize when that's second year. So that's it. That's it, my dear people. We can make it, and I don't want to be blamed if I die in the next 40 years that I had come here to say that only people on fast lane die. No, let it be a reason. And again, my last statement, most of the times you don't need to follow what an experienced man, you do not need to do the bad things an experienced man does. If I'm bad, but try to check out some of the things I say because I'll try to say them good. So don't do the wrong things I may do to prove me wrong, but try to do the right things I may say because I have the experience between good and bad. Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful New Year.